The morning broke gray and heavy over our small farmhouse, tucked into the folds of Black Hollow, Montana, about 7 miles from the nearest neighbor. I was grumbling to my wife, Sarah, about the ruts in our gravel drive, carved deep by spring rains, and how the barn roof was leaking again. Our daughter, Lily, 6 years old and all elbows and knees, had a habit of leaving her muddy boots by the front door, a tiny trip hazard that drove me up the wall. I'd mutter about it every morning, half serious, half just to hear Sarah's soft laugh. Those were the things that made life feel right: muddy boots, leaky roofs, the kind of small irritations that meant everything was as it should be. I never thought I'd beg for those days again. Our place was nothing special: a two-story house with chipped white paint, a porch that sagged on one end, and windows that rattled in the wind. We'd moved here 4 years ago, in 2023, chasing a quieter life after the grind of Seattle. Sarah taught online math courses, her laptop always glowing on the kitchen table. I took odd jobs, carpentry, some mechanic work, anything to keep the bills paid while I patched up the house. Lily spent her days inventing games with sticks and stones or reading dog-eared books about dragons. It was a good life, simple but ours. That morning, I was out by the barn, wrestling with an old diesel generator that hadn't run right since we bought the place. The sky hung low, clouds like wet wool, and the air carried a damp chill that clung to my skin. It smelled of pine and something sharp, maybe rot from the nearby woods. Inside, Sarah was curled up on the couch, her dark hair twisted into a loose bun, grading assignments. Lily was sprawled on the rug, her collection of plastic horses arranged in a meticulous circle, each one named and given a backstory she'd whisper to herself. "Coffee's ready," Sarah called as I stomped back inside, brushing rust from my hands. Her voice was warm, but her eyes flicked to my knuckles, checking for the usual scrapes. I had a knack for banging them up on stubborn bolts. "Thanks," I said, leaning down to kiss her forehead. Her skin smelled faintly of lavender from the soap she loved. I poured a mug, black and steaming, and stood there a moment, watching them. Lily's curls were a wild halo, catching the dim morning light. Sarah's fingers tapped the keyboard, her focus unbroken despite the chaos of our little world. For a second, I felt a quiet gratitude, sharp enough to make my chest ache. I thought, hold on to this. As if some part of me knew what was coming. 06:45 a.m. My phone buzzed on the counter, loud enough to make me jump. I figured it was another junk call. Those had been relentless lately. But then Sarah's phone lit up, skittering across the table. Even Lily's little tablet, propped against a couch cushion, chimed and flashed. The coincidence sent a cold prickle down my spine. I grabbed my phone. The screen glowed red, stark black letters filling it. Emergency alert. Black Hollow County and surrounding areas. Return indoors immediately. Lock all doors and windows. Do not make noise above a whisper. Do not investigate outdoors. This is not a test. I read it twice, my brain refusing to catch up. Sarah stood, clutching her phone, her face pale. Lily looked up, confused, her horses forgotten. "Daddy," she started, but Sarah pressed a finger to her lips, silencing her. "What the hell is this?" I whispered, my voice rough. Sarah shook her head, her eyes wide and blinking fast. "I don't know, Jack, but we need to do what it says." We moved fast. I bolted the front door, sliding the old chain lock we rarely used. Sarah yanked the curtains shut, every clink of the rings making us flinch. Lily clung to my leg, her small hands trembling through my jeans. I checked the back door, then the windows, cursing the old frames that let drafts slip through. The house wasn't built for this, whatever this was. Back in the living room, Sarah crouched beside Lily, whispering something I couldn't catch. Our phones buzzed again, almost in sync. My stomach dropped. The new alert was worse. Emergency update. Remain completely silent. Shut off all electronics immediately. Do not respond to voices outside your home. Trust only those inside with you. Further instructions to follow. Jesus, I breathed, my mouth dry as sand. I powered off my phone, hands shaking. Sarah did the same, her fingers fumbling. I reached down and switched off Lily's tablet, its screen going dark. The house felt heavier, like the air itself had thickened. We sat on the couch, pressed close. The old clock on the mantel ticked, each second a hammer blow. The fridge hummed faintly in the kitchen, and I flinched, my heart stuttering. 07:10 a.m. We sat there for maybe 15 minutes, frozen. My legs cramped, but I didn't move. Sarah's eyes were squeezed shut, her hand rubbing slow circles on Lily's back. I stared at the blinds, expecting something. Then a voice drifted from the porch, thin and reedy. "Hello? Anyone home?" I need help. Lily's body jerked. Sarah's nails dug into my arm. I pressed a finger to my lips, praying Lily understood. The voice came again, closer. Please, my sister's hurt. Don't leave us out here. It was wrong, hollow, like a recording played through a cracked speaker. My mind painted awful pictures, a face too wide, teeth too sharp. We stayed still. Lily buried her face in Sarah's sweater, her shoulders shaking. I held my breath until my lungs burned. The doorknob rattled, once, twice. A soft scrape followed, like nails dragging across wood. The knob turned slightly, testing. Then it stopped. The silence was worse, like something was waiting, listening. I tightened my arm around Sarah and Lily, their warmth the only thing keeping me grounded. The voice spoke again, closer, pressed against the door. Please, we're scared. The words were off, syllables stretched and clipped, like someone mimicking human speech without understanding it. Lily whimpered, so faint I barely heard. I covered her mouth gently, her tears wetting my hand. Sarah's breath hitched, her eyes glistening. 07:40 a.m. The thing outside moved. The porch boards creaked, slow and deliberate, crossing from one end to the other. My brain conjured images of something with limbs too long, skin stretched tight over bones that didn't fit. I shook my head, trying to push the thoughts away. The footsteps faded. Silence returned. Then a low hum started, deep and vibrating, like a glass bottle blown across its rim, but heavier, layered. It crawled through the floor, buzzing in my teeth. Sarah gripped my arm, her nails breaking skin. Lily squeezed her eyes shut, tears leaking. The hum lasted seconds but felt eternal. Then it stopped, leaving the air dead. The fridge was silent. The clock had stopped. Every machine in the house had gone quiet. I crept to the front window, easing the blind aside. The porch was empty, but the gravel drive was torn up, sweeping arcs and shallow trenches, like claws had raked it. They stretched toward the road and vanished into the pines. I dropped the blind and leaned against the wall, my heart pounding. Our phones lit up again, screens pulsing faintly. The digital photo frame on the mantel flickered. The kitchen timer blinked. Every screen flashed the same message in blocky letters. We see you. We hear you. Stay silent or join us. My knees buckled. I sank to the floor. Lily let out a tiny sob, then clapped her hands over her mouth. Sarah pulled her close, tears streaking her face. Join them? What did that mean? The words felt like a threat and a promise, both incomprehensible. The kitchen radio crackled to life, though it hadn't worked in months. Static hissed, then a voice, mechanical, cold. Sound is the path. It clicked off. The silence pressed in, heavy as stone. 08:20 a.m. We can't stay here, I whispered, my voice barely audible. If they can turn on the radio, they can get inside. We need to move. Sarah nodded, her face tight with fear. The root cellar, I said. Dirt walls, thick door. Sound might not carry. We crept through the house, wincing at every creak. The cellar door was behind the pantry, low and warped, smelling of earth and mold. I eased it open, the hinges groaning faintly. We froze, waiting. Nothing. I led the way down steep, dirt-packed steps, Lily's hand in mine, Sarah behind us. I wedged a crate against the door. The cellar was cold, damp, the air thick. We sank to the floor, huddling together. Lily pressed against me, her breathing shallow. Sarah's arms wrapped around her. For a long time, we didn't speak. The only sounds were our clothes rustling and a faint drip of water deep in the earth. Daddy, Lily whispered, so soft I strained to hear. Is it gone? I kissed her head. I don't know, sweetheart. But we're safe here for now. Sarah's hand found mine, her grip desperate. I squeezed back, trying to pour strength I didn't feel into her. 09:00 a.m. Time blurred in the dark. I counted seconds to stay sane, but my mind kept circling back to those words. We see you. We hear you. What were they? Not human, not animal. Something else. The silence grew heavier, oppressive. Then Lily shifted, her shoe scraping the dirt. I froze, listening. A faint tap sounded above, like fingertips on wood. It moved across the kitchen, pausing, deliberate. My blood went cold. Sarah's grip tightened. Lily trembled. The tapping stopped at the pantry door. Silence. Then a voice, soft and coaxing. Hello. I hear you down there. It's safe now. Come out. It was almost human, but the cadence was wrong, words stretched unnaturally. I pressed Lily's head against me, covering her ears. It spoke again, this time in my voice, perfect and chilling. Lily, it's Daddy. Come up, sweetheart. I need you. Lily stiffened, her eyes wide in the dark. I leaned to her ear. It's not me. Don't move. The voice faded. Silence stretched, unbearable. Then a crash, dishes shattering, furniture scraping. The hum returned, shaking the dirt walls. It stopped abruptly, leaving my ears ringing. 10:30 a.m. hours dragged. Sarah's breathing grew uneven, her hand clutching her side. She was 6 months pregnant, and I'd seen her wince before, but this was different. Jack, she whispered, her voice tight. It's the baby. Cramping. Try to breathe, I said, my voice barely there. Stay quiet. We're okay. But her face was pale, her jaw clenched. Lily curled tighter against me, her eyes heavy with exhaustion. I stayed awake, listening, every nerve on edge. A distant boom shook the ground, then another. Dust sifted from the ceiling. Lily squeaked, startled. Sarah snapped upright. What was that? She mouthed. I shook my head. Through the dirt, faint cracks echoed, like gunfire. Voices followed, muffled but urgent. Sector clear. Watch the trees. Soldiers. My chest tightened with hope and dread. If the military was here, this was bigger than Black Hollow. But their shouts meant noise, and noise drew those things. I crept to the door, pressing my ear against it. Boots crunched outside, voices barking orders. A high-pitched whine cut through, like metal grinding. Then a scream, wet and final. My hand froze on the latch. The hum rose again, vibrating my lungs. Whatever was out there hadn't left. 11:15 a.m. The chaos grew louder, shouts, pulses of strange energy, screeches that weren't human. A heavy thud shook the door. I stepped back, heart racing. Voices clarified. Secure the house. Check every room. Watch for residuals. Soldiers, definitely. I returned to Sarah and Lily. Military, I whispered. They're sweeping the house. Sarah's eyes welled up. Are we safe? I don't know. Stay quiet. A light beam sliced through a crack in the door, settling on the latch. A voice called. If anyone's down there, we're U.S. Army. Come out slowly, hands visible. Stay silent unless spoken to. I looked at Sarah. She nodded, trembling. I cracked the door. A flashlight blinded me. Step out, a soldier ordered. I obeyed, raising my hands. 2 soldiers stood there, rifles raised, their gear caked in mud. One swept a beeping scanner over me. Clear. Anyone else? My wife and daughter, I said, voice hoarse. Behind me. Bring them out. Hands up. Keep quiet. Sarah and Lily emerged, Sarah shielding Lily. The scanner passed over them, beeping steadily. You're coming with us, the lead soldier said. Evac zone's a mile east. Those things key on sound. Stay silent. We moved through the house, furniture overturned, walls streaked with dark smears. The front yard was torn up, claw marks gouging the earth. The air smelled of rot and ozone. We followed the soldiers, staying low, Lily's hand cold in mine. Trees were stripped, bark peeled in spirals. A wet pop sounded behind the house, like bones breaking. The soldiers froze, weapons up. Contact, one shouted. A shriek tore through the air, sharp enough to blur my vision. I peeked around a tree. A creature shambled forward, limbs bending wrong, its skin like cracked stone, glowing tissue pulsing beneath. A soldier fired a dish-shaped weapon, sending a ripple of air that burst the creature's glowing filaments. It collapsed, but more shapes moved in the trees, silent and slithering. Fall back. The leader yelled. Get the civilians out. We ran, stumbling through the woods, the hum rising behind us, layered and deafening. Red markers glowed ahead, a barricade of trucks and steel. An armored transport waited, ramp open. We sprinted, Sarah gasping, her hand on her belly. The hum peaked, my nose bleeding. Shapes loomed behind us, massive, flickering. We reached the ramp. Soldiers hauled us inside, the interior lit by blue LEDs. A medic guided Sarah to a bench, Lily clinging to me. The ramp slammed shut. The transport lurched forward, engine roaring. Through a viewport, I saw the barricade collapse, a creature smashing a truck. The hum faded, swallowed by the engine's growl. 01:00 p.m. Sarah lay back, eyes closed, her breathing shallow. A medic injected a glowing syringe into her neck. Neural stabilizer, he said. Keeps the resonance out. Her color improved, but her hand stayed on her belly. The baby was kicking too much, too fast. The soldier scanned us again. When he reached Sarah's belly, his device flashed orange. How far along? He asked. 6 months, Sarah whispered. He called to the driver, containment ready. Possible resonance. My stomach twisted. He crouched. We're taking you to a facility. They can suppress the frequency bleed. You'll be isolated until it's clear. I nodded, gripping Sarah's hand. Lily curled into me, finally asleep. The transport rattled on, passing a checkpoint with blazing floodlights. We stopped at a compound of concrete buildings, satellite dishes scanning the sky. Medics in white suits led us to a low building, humming with machinery. Inside, antiseptic stung my nose. They placed Sarah on a gurney, sensors on her belly. A monitor showed jagged lines, one pulsing in a triangular pattern, like the creature's lights. "It's not over," a medic said. "Resonance can fade if caught early." Sarah's eyes met mine, terrified but fierce. I pressed my forehead to hers. "We're together," I said. "No matter what." Lily climbed beside her, her small hand on Sarah's shoulder. In the cold glow of the monitors, we held on to each other, to hope, to the fragile certainty that we were still a family, and nothing would take that from us yet. Days later, April 15th, 2027. The facility was a maze of concrete and steel, its walls humming with unseen machines. We were kept in an isolation chamber, a sterile box with clear partitions and blinking sensors. Sarah's condition stabilized, but the baby's kicks remained erratic, tied to that eerie triangular pulse on the monitors. The medics were tight-lipped, their faces hidden behind masks, but I caught their glances, worry, maybe pity. Lily clung to us, her usual chatter replaced by wide-eyed silence. She'd ask, "When can we go home?" And I'd lie, "Soon, sweetheart." The truth was, I didn't know if home still existed. The soldiers' radios crackled with reports of incursions and hot zones. Black Hollow is gone, they said, swallowed by whatever those things were. The medics explained what they could. The creatures weren't from here, not Earth, maybe not even our reality. They called it a frequency breach, some kind of tear that let these things slip through, drawn to sound, especially human voices. The alerts came from an automated system, cobbled together when the breach first hit. The resonance was how they infected people, rewiring their minds through sound waves, turning them into something else. Sarah's baby was at risk because it was exposed in utero, picking up the signal like a radio. They gave us earpieces, small devices that emitted a low counter frequency to block the hum. They worked, mostly, but I'd still wake up at night, certain I heard it vibrating in my bones. Sarah wore hers constantly, her hand never leaving her belly. Lily hated hers, said it made her head feel fuzzy, but we insisted. April 18th, 2027. A weekend. A doctor, Dr. Kessler, a wiry woman with tired eyes, sat us down. "The resonance in the fetus is weakening," she said. "The stabilizers are helping, but we need to keep her here until delivery. Any exposure could amplify it." Sarah nodded, her face pale but resolute. I asked about the creatures, the breach. Kessler's jaw tightened. "We're containing it. That's all you need to know." I didn't believe her. At night, through the chamber's small window, I saw flashes on the horizon, pulses of light, muffled booms. The soldiers patrolling the compound carried heavier versions of those dish weapons, their faces grim. Once, I overheard two talking. They're adapting. The pulses don't always work now. Lily started drawing again, her crayons scratching on paper. But her pictures weren't horses anymore. They were jagged shapes, glowing triangles, things with too many limbs. I didn't know if it was trauma or something worse. Sarah and I took turns holding her, whispering stories to keep her grounded. April 25th, 2027. The days blurred. Sarah's cramps came and went, each one a reminder of the fragility of our situation. The baby's movements were calmer now, but the monitors still showed faint traces of that triangular pulse. Dr. Kessler increased the stabilizer doses, and Sarah slept more, her dreams restless. I stayed awake, watching the monitors, listening for any sign of the hum. One night, Lily woke screaming. The earpiece had fallen out, and she clutched her head, sobbing about voices in the trees. I held her, checking the earpiece. It was still humming softly, but I wondered if it was enough. The medics rushed in, scanned her, and gave her a sedative. "She's clean," they said, but their eyes lingered on her drawings. The next morning, a soldier came to our chamber. "We're moving you," he said. "The breach is spreading. This facility isn't safe anymore." Sarah sat up, alarmed. "Where to?" "West. A fortified base in Idaho. It's got better containment." His voice was flat, but his hands twitched, betraying fear. We packed what little we had: clothes, Lily's crayons, a photo of our old life in Seattle. The transport was bigger this time, packed with other survivors, their faces hollow. A woman across from us clutched a toddler who stared blankly, his earpiece blinking. No one spoke. The hum was faint but constant, seeping through the transport's walls. May 2nd, 2027. The Idaho base was a fortress, concrete bunkers, electrified fences, drones buzzing overhead. We were assigned a new chamber, this one deeper underground, the air heavy with recycled oxygen. Sarah's pregnancy was nearing its end, and the medics were optimistic. The resonance was almost gone, they said, but we'd stay isolated until the birth. Lily started talking again, small sentences at first, then stories about her horses. We clung to that normalcy, reading her books, playing quiet games. But the nights were hard. The hum was louder here, not outside but in my head, like a memory I couldn't shake. Sarah felt it too, her eyes distant sometimes, like she was listening to something I couldn't hear. One evening, a new doctor, Dr. Patel, showed us scans of the baby. "It's a girl," he said, pointing to the screen. "She's healthy, but we'll need to monitor post-birth." The resonance leaves echoes. Sarah's hand tightened in mine. I didn't ask what echoes meant. May 10th, 2027. Sarah went into labor at dawn. The medics moved fast, wheeling her to a sterile room with reinforced walls. Lily stayed with me, her small hand gripping mine as we waited in an adjacent chamber. I tried to distract her with stories, but her eyes kept darting to the door. The hum was there, faint but persistent, like a heartbeat in the walls. Hours later, Dr. Patel emerged, his mask off, a tired smile on his face. "It's a healthy girl. Sarah's stable. The resonance is negligible." Relief flooded me, but it was fragile. They let us see her, Emma, we named her, after Sarah's grandmother. She was tiny, perfect, her eyes dark and searching. But the monitors still showed a faint triangular pulse, barely there but undeniable. May 15th, 2027. We were still here, underground, a family of 4 now. Emma sleeps in a crib beside Sarah, her breath soft but uneven, like she's dreaming of something we can't see. Lily draws again, her pictures brighter but still edged with strange shapes. Sarah's stronger, but I catch her staring at Emma, fear in her eyes. The base is on edge. The breach is spreading, they say, the creature's adapting faster than the weapons can keep up. The hum is constant now, a low thrum that never fully fades. I don't know if we'll ever go back to Black Hollow, or if there's anything left to go back to. But we have each other, and that's enough for now. Every night, I hold Sarah and Lily close, Emma between us, and I whisper, "We're together." No matter what. The words feel like a shield, fragile but all we have. Whatever's out there, whatever it wants, it hasn't taken us yet. And as long as we're breathing, I'll fight to keep it that way.